74-degree day here in Tampa. We are moments away from the opening kickoff. And before we get started, let's check in with the third member of our broadcast team, Chris Myers. Chris?
Kenny, Happy New Year to you and Brian. Despite a home game on New Year's Eve, the Buccaneers had an 11 p.m. curfew last night. Most of the players told me in pregame warm-ups today that they went to sleep knowing they were in the playoffs, but they didn't celebrate. All the more reason for John Gruden, who usually uses some kind of symbol to help motivate his team during the week, to put in this week video of the NBA's Detroit Pistons. He wanted his team to reinforce or to see how they play together, how they play tough, but most importantly, how they play hard, whether it's game 10 or 20 or the NBA Finals. And he emphasized Chauncey Billups, a little guy who plays big in big situations. And if the Bucks do that today, they'll ring in the new year celebrating with a division title.
Well, thanks for the report, Chris. Me and Kenny were tucked away in curfew last night. No highlights of the Detroit Pistons. Just getting ready for a big game here today.
And Matt Bryant gets things started. Short kick taken by Fred McAfee. And he brings it out to the 30. Dante Nicholson made the special team stop for the Bucks. Todd Bauman makes his 6th career start, his 3rd in a row with the Saints. Started 3 games for the Vikings in 2001. A shuffled offensive line with LaCharles Bentley and Jamal Brown both out. Jay Cox moves to the middle. Antoine Smith leads the Saints in rushing following the injury suffered by Deuce McAllister back in October. On 1st and 10, this is Smith. And the former Buffalo Bill and New England Patriot gains 7 on 1st down. Tackled by Derek Brooks, setting up 2nd down and 3. The Bucks with the 2nd-ranked defense in the NFL. Simeon Rice, 4th in the league with 12 sacks. Brooks heading to his 9th consecutive Pro Bowl. And the second-year safety Will Allen starting for the injured Jermaine Phillips. Rondé Barber had 3 interceptions in the game back in December in Baton Rouge against the Saints. 4 wide receivers on 2nd down and 3. Bauman to the air for the first time, and the pass is caught for a Saints 1st down by Joe Horn, a gain of 11.
I think when you look at this game, I think you have to look at the Buck defense. They have a chance today, Kenny, to end up ranked number 1 in defense. Depends on what Chicago does later today, but really, they've had trouble stopping the New Orleans Saints. And the guy that they've had the most trouble stopping in the 3 games they've lost to the Saints here the last 3 years has been Aaron Brooks, who's not in there today. And that's what Todd Bauman wants to assimilate here today.
Antoine Smith on the pitch from Bauman. And he gains just 1 out to the 49-yard line. Greg Spires made the tackle.
Now look, the Saints have had a miserable season, but when you look at Jim Haslett, he played for the defensive coordinator, Monty Kiffin, in Buffalo. Monty was coaching up there, Jim was a player, and then he coached with Monty in New Orleans in 1995. And so he feels like he knows his defense as well as Monty Kiffin does. So if you know the defense that well, you know how to attack the defense. And there they are meeting earlier today, along with Hank Bulla, who was the head coach of Buffalo at that time.
2nd down and 8. Off the play fake. Pass is caught by the tight end, Zach Hilton, who had a career game last week against Detroit with 7 receptions. And Hilton takes it down to the Bucks 42.
Well, you know, when you are as bad as the Saints have been this year, and you're 3-12 right now, you get a chance to play a lot of younger players. And so this Zach Hilton has got a chance to play here today. He's 6'8". He's the tallest tight end in the league. He's got excellent hands. He loves the game. I mean, they've got themselves a player there. Whoever runs this team next year, they've got themselves a tight end.
From the 42, Dante Stallworth pick up a 4 down to the 38-yard line, brought down by Brian Kelly and Ryan Neese.
You know, the Saints wide receivers have dropped more passes than any group in the league. And so I was asking Todd Bauman about that just yesterday, and he said, look, these guys come back to the huddle after dropping a pass, and they're apologetic. They're like, Todd, I'm sorry. Man, dude, listen, I'm going to get the next one. Throw it to me. And it's kind of hard to continue to sustain offense if your wide receivers are dropping big plays.
As you saw, 39 drops, most in the league. Here's Smith cutting to the outside, and Antoine Smith is close to another 1st down. Gained 6, tackled by Shelton Quarles. Saints putting together an impressive opening drive against this Bucs defense.
Yeah, they really are. And Wayne Gandy gets out here on the perimeter on a tackle sweep right here. Nice job of running interference, and it's a pretty good opening drive for the Saints. But the Saints can look pretty good in a lot of games. They just usually find some way to mess it up, to screw it up. But this is a good opening drive here going right at the Bucs.
Anthony Thomas in the backfield, the A-Train, the former Bear and Cowboy. Bauman rolling right. Would you call that a drop? Pass was a bit short, intended for Joe Horn.
Todd's better than that. I mean, he had Joe Horn open right there, kind of bounced it off the turf. But, you know, it's 4-down territory right now. You're 3-12. I mean, that's one of the dangers of playing a team and why some teams like this become spoilers, because they throw all caution to the wind. They've got nothing to lose. So 4th down is just another down. And Todd's upset with himself right there, bouncing that one off the turf.
4th and 2. 2 tight ends. Thomas in the backfield. Horn split to the left. Hilton in motion. Saints have to get to the 32. Bauman lofts it up, intended for Zach Hilton, and it is picked off by Will Allen.
Well, Will Allen is a young safety starting for Jermaine Phillips today. Probably should have just dropped that ball and gotten better field position, but don't tell that to a young safety making a start.
3rd interception of the season for Allen.
Fox NFL Sunday, sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 40.
Will Allen's first 2 interceptions this season came off Brett Favre. He intercepts Bauman right here.
Watch what the physical nature of the Bucs do on this defense. Watch them jam the receivers at the line of scrimmage. They never really were able to get out, get into the route. Right now, Bauman's looking. There's nobody open. Right here, you got 1, 2, 3. All guys covered there. No place to go with that football. Turns out to be a good play. They actually gained 22 yards by throwing the interception rather than just turning it over on downs.
Bucs start from their 12. They would have had it on the 34 as Cadillac Williams gains 2. They would have had it on the 34 had Allen knocked it down. As we check in for the first time today with James Brown in Los Angeles.
Kenny, we know a Pittsburgh victory and they are in the playoffs. Take a look at this. 3 and out for Detroit. Punt return. This is Antoine Randall L. Kenny, we may as well just call him a football player. Big time return. 81 yards to post to pay dirt. 7-0 Steelers. Back to Kenny, Brian, and Chris.
So that is not good news for the Kansas City Chiefs, who need a win and a Steelers loss. Cadillac Williams takes it out to the 20-yard line, gain of 5. Chris Sims making his 10th start this season for the Bucs, 5-2 over his last 7, including 3 last-minute comeback victories. This group, Ryan, has started all 16 games for the Bucs, including the rookie left guard out of Wisconsin, Dan Benning. Cadillac Williams, his 6th 100-yard game last week. Sims on 3rd and 3, and it's caught for a first down by Ike Hilliard, starting for the injured Michael Clayton, a gain of 14.
Well, this is one thing that we've come to see from Chris Sims. We just put up the stat that he's won 5 of his last 7 starts right now. That is as poised as you can get right here. Ike Hilliard now in there for the injury to Michael Clayton. Veteran guy, good timing right there. Very patient, waiting for that to open up. Chris Sims just calmly and with a lot of poise just delivers him a strike.
So now the Buccaneers get back to the 34-yard line where they would have started from had Allen not picked off the pass. Mike Allstott, first down and more into Saints territory. Finally knocked out of bounds at the New Orleans 42 after gaining 24 yards.
Take a look at Chris Sims' throw here. I was watching him in pregame warm-up, how quickly he gets the ball out of his hands and how accurately he throws it. This isn't even a 3-step drop. It's about a 2 steps. 2 steps and puts the ball. I mean, really, if you put the ball on a tee, like in T-ball, that's almost what it was like. Put the ball right on the tee for Pittman right there, or for Allstott. Yeah, and he takes a shot at the end of the play. Of course, the A-Train doing what he does best there.
Longest reception for Allstott this season. First and 10 from the Saints 42. Cadillac cuts to the outside. Still on his feet. Wow. Made something out of nothing in games 4. As we check out the Saints defense, they're actually ranked 14th. They were last in the league last season. Will Smith leading the way with 8.5 sacks. A depleted group of linebackers. Cedric Hodge is out. Terrence Melton on his 29th birthday gets the start. And Fakir Brown starting for Mike McKenzie, who is not active today. From the 38, second down and 6. Off the play fake to Williams. Sims rolling left. And this pass a bit high, intended for Ike Hilliard.
I think when you read the year-end summary of this Buck team, and whenever that ends, going to the playoffs next week, it's going to start and stop. That highlight reel is going to be about Cadillac Williams. There was nobody that entered this league this year with a bigger, hotter name than Cadillac Williams. Running for more yards than any back in the history of the game the first 3 weeks. Had an injury, tailed off, and now is finishing as strong as any back in this league.
434 yards over his first 3 games.
And plays the game with tremendous emotion and has fantastic stamina to finish games.
Bucks call timeout. Third down and 6 for Tampa Bay when we return. Twelve-yard touchdown pass, Jake Delhomme to Ricky Prohl. Carolina with a touchdown lead in Atlanta, where they have lost their last 7 games. Panthers in the playoffs with a win. They win the division with a win and a Bucks loss. Third down and 6 from the Saints 38. Pittman in the backfield. 3 wide receivers set. Galloway split to the left. Sims on 3rd and 6, and the pass is caught by Ike Hilliard. And he looks to have a Bucks first down. Hilliard, a Louisiana native. His uncle Dalton Hilliard, the 3rd leading rusher in the history of the Saints.
It's the second time they've gone to Hilliard on 3rd down. First time they converted. I think this is going to require a measurement.
Ball sitting right on our yellow line, which of course is not official.
And Ike Hilliard's college team, the University of Florida, will be playing tomorrow in the Outback Bowl right here on this field. A lot of fans from the University of Iowa here getting ready for that game tomorrow. That's good technology. When the yellow line can be that accurate like that, give that guy a holiday bonus.
So our yellow line guys, Mark and Todd, operating at 100% so far today.
Yeah, starting off the new year right. Everybody's trying to get off to the right foot right on New Year's. Resolutions are in. Feeling of optimism. It's going to be a good year.
Our first penalty markers.
False start, 88 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
See, Anthony Beck moves, and then Anthony Davis gets dumped on his butt for that. I mean, really, Beck should say, Anthony, sorry about that, bro. I mean, really, because here's the move right there, and now watch, here comes Anthony. They take it out on Anthony Davis. There seems to be something wrong about that. Beck owes his left tackle one there.
So the Bucks push back 5 yards. First down and 15.
A lot of chatter down there, isn't it?
And the handoff to Cadillac Williams. Big burst up the middle. Colby Bockwell finally brought him down after a gain of 10. Cadillac running like he was over the first 3 games of the regular season when he set an NFL record with those 434 yards. Brian Griese went 5-1, but he was knocked out for the season, replaced by Chris Sims, who has led the Bucks to 3 comeback victories, 1 over Washington, 2 over the Atlanta Falcons. And today, Sims looks to put the finishing touches on a division title. Cadillac on 2nd and 6. Takes it down close to another. Bucks first down. A gain of 5 as we check in once again with JB.
Hey, Kenny Albert, opening drive for Carolina. Hasn't won in Atlanta since '97. Jake Delhomme hooking up with Ricky Proehl, 12-yard strike that caps a 9-play, 80-yard drive. The Panthers, if they win, they're in the postseason. Back to Kenny and Brian.
Carolina looking to bounce back from that loss to Dallas last week. 3rd and 1. And the Bucs able to move the chains.
You know, if you watch Cadillac Williams run, he always has the ball in his left hand. But it's more than that. The Bucs are a left-handed team. And by that, I mean most of their runs go to the left side because that's where their power is. That's where Anthony Davis, the big left tackle, is making his 16th start here this season there. Guy that came up through the practice squad, not drafted out of Virginia Tech, has really anchored the line. He's got power over there, and Cadillac really favors that side of the line.
From the 21, it's Cadillac. And he slips down at the 16. He told us he likes carrying the ball in his right hand, yet he noticed on film that he's been carrying it with his left.
Well, here he is running behind the big left tackle, Anthony Davis here, along with the rookie Alex Smith. Does a good job of sealing. Here comes the guard, Sean Mahan. And there they go. I mean, against the Carolina Panthers a couple of weeks ago, he had 29 runs in the game. 21 were over to the left side.
Wow.
Yeah, now, these guards, both these guards, are really good pullers. But I mean, they get out and they get in space and they put their track shoes on. And Sean Mahan, along with the rookie left guard, Dan Benning, are very, very good at pulling in space.
Timeout called by the Bucs. Dan Benning, one of only 4 rookie offensive linemen in the league to start every game this season. Back in Tampa on New Year's Day. Bucs started this drive from their own 12-yard line. Now on 2nd and 5, Sims with time. He throws it. It's caught. And taken down to the 9-yard line by Joey Galloway. Gain of 7. And another Bucs first down. Dwight Smith finally made the tackle.
You know, Chris Sims has been well protected here, I think, for the most part in his 9 starts. And really, this Buck offensive line here, Davis, Benning, Wade, Mahan, along with Walker, they're one of 4 teams in this league to start all 5 guys for the 16th week in a row. It's really a credit to their guys that are coming back from injury, playing with injury. Of course, that's the dean right there, Bill Muir, the offensive line coach. Done a great job with this group here.
And now a 1st and goal. Cadillac Williams running behind that offensive line. And he flips down to the 7, a gain of 2.
You know, when this season started, there were so many question marks about the offensive line. You come off a 5-11 record. You draft a rookie, Dan Benning, out of Wisconsin. They had Derek Deese at left tackle, a veteran guy that Gruden really liked, but he was injured, had a bad foot. They threw Anthony Davis in. This was a guy that 2 years ago was a free agent rookie from Virginia Tech, a little bit overweight, was on the practice squad, was active 1 game last year, and then here he is starting his 16th game in a row here this year. He's really been a big uplift there to the group.
On 2nd and goal, Sims. And it's off the fingertips of Alstott.
Wasn't a whole lot of places to go with that football there. You know, when they do move Chris Sims, they like to move him to the left. It's natural. He's left-handed. A lot easier to throw the ball going to his left than it is to the right. I'm just impressed with the disposition of Chris Sims to be really the happiest guy on planet Earth every day, enjoying his moment right now. And I don't look at Chris Sims any longer as a backup. To me, he's a starter now and a starter going into next year.
He's had such poise and presence, command of the huddle. Sims fires to the end zone, touchdown. Joey Galloway on the 15th play of this drive.
John Gruden emphasized we want to get better. And when you start the game with an opening drive of 15 plays and cap it off with a perfect throw from Sims to Galloway, I think John Gruden can say we're getting better here. That's great timing, good hook up there. Little hour out there by Galloway.
9th touchdown reception of the season for Galloway, which ties a Buccaneers franchise record. 15-play, 88-yard drive, 7-0 Bucks. "15 plays, matching the longest drive of the year by the Bucks, and they were 4 for 4 on third down."
Well, really, I think Chris Sims just keeps getting better, and I think this offense is getting better. And you go to bed, and you know you're in the playoffs, and there is a tendency to relax. But this Buck team came out and really executed as well as you can to open up the game there on offense.
Spend New Year's Day with you again, Brian. This year we were in Charlotte last year on New Year's.
New Year's Eve last night, watching the Giants clinch the NFC East. The victory out there in Oakland. Congratulations to Tiki Barber. Fantastic season for one half of the Barber twin combination.
His third game this season, over 200 yards rushing. Bauman on 3rd and 2, and he makes the connection with the tight end, Zach Hilton, for a 30-yard pickup and a Saints first down.
Todd Bauman said he loves Zach Hilton because of his size. He's such a great target. And what you're finding out about him, the more he plays, is what he can do after he catches the ball. It's a great throw by Todd. Off to a good start here today. With that ball, feathery touch there over the hands of Brian Kelly. And then you see how big he is. He always goes forward. When he goes forward, that's an extra 3 yards.
He's 6'8" in his third year out of North Carolina. Spent most of last season on the Saints practice squad.
In fact, today we've got 2 really good young tight ends. Alex Smith for the Bucks, Zach Hilton for the Saints.
From just outside the 10, here's Antoine Smith, and he takes it down to the 7. Ryan Neese made the tackle.
You know, I was talking to Jim Haslett yesterday, and Jim was kind of just spilling his guts about the season, his situation, what's going to happen, and I asked him, what about today's effort? What's the message? And he said, did you see how we played against Detroit last week? And really, you can't fault Jim Haslett for the effort. They play with tremendous effort every week. They don't always play smart. They do a lot of dubious things, but the team plays hard.
How about Detroit leading Pittsburgh 14-13. 2nd and 6. Bauman to the end zone out of bounds. Intended for Dante Stallworth.
Well, see, there's an example. I mean, Dante Stallworth wide open there, and Todd threw the wrong ball. You know, he threw a firecracker that time. He needed to kind of throw a pop gun. Watch this. He's got Ronde Barber here turned around. Boom. Ronde, he sees something else. I mean, that's just a floater out there he should have thrown. But, you know, Todd's got rust on him. Todd actually said he sees the field very well after not playing very much. Just has to be a little bit more accurate with it.
3rd down and 6. Saints can actually pick up a first down without reaching the end zone. Quick pass, and it's off the hand of Hilton.
That would have been another touchdown, too. I mean, he really just rushed it because there was nobody covering Zach Hilton. They actually blitzed the safeties. And that was a walk into the end zone if he just, again, just floated that ball rather than just kind of fired. As you see today, the Saints have been able to move the ball on both drives. One ending up in an interception, and then this one ending up here in a field goal attempt.
They've driven 77 yards on this drive. A 25-yard attempt for Carney, who started his career with the Bucks way back in 1988. Bauman stays on to hold, and Carney's kick is straight through. So the Saints are on the board early 2nd quarter. They trail the Bucks 7-3. All right, here we are, year 30 for the Bucks, game 16. We have to throw this graphic up.
Yeah, and I think everybody in Tampa Bay is tired of seeing this graphic, and I think Michael Pittman has a chance here today to end it. He's never returned a kickoff for the Bucks as a Buck, but he says he can do it here today.
Here's Pittman. He returned 12 kicks with the Arizona Cardinals. And he takes this one out to the 30.
Yeah. Gave him a little bit of a kind of a hold of breath right there if he could break that tackle off and running. He returned kicks when he was with the Arizona Cardinals. But chance here today to end that dubious record.
Bucks have never returned a kickoff for a touchdown. And when you put that in perspective with regard to other sports.
You tell me all those Mets pitchers, Seaver, Kuzman, all those guys never, Matlack, none of those guys ever threw a no-hitter?
Many of them did with other clubs.
Yeah. Nolan Ryan, is it Met? Never threw a no-hitter there.
No, but
he did. Throw like 7 in his career?
7.
I don't know how I knew that.
Doc Gooden threw a no-hitter with the Yankees.
Yeah.
Mike
Encroachment.
Scott with Houston.
Defense, number 77. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Well, it's almost like there's been Bucks that have done it for other teams, like Aaron Stecker returned one for the Saints against the Bucks right here last year.
Stecker has the longest kickoff return by a Buck, 86 yards, and that was against the Saints. Michael Lewis tackled
See, there's
him.
something going on here. I see things like it's a perfect storm brewing here for it to happen today. Too many connections.
Pittman in the backfield, 1st and 5 following the penalty. And Pittman running hard.
See?
He's going to take this one.
Could have done that on a kickoff. Oh, he got tackled at the 1.
64 yards.
See, that's the kind of explosion that he has. Right behind the left side again of that offensive line. Why not go ahead and flex? Woo! That's hitting the hole right here.
Pittman ruled down on the 1, although the Bucs started to celebrate.
You know, it was funny, is I saw Mike Allstott at practice the other day saying, just go out at the 1-yard line so I can score the touchdown. And Allstott's out there right now to score the touchdown.
Here's Allstott. He is in for the touchdown. There is a flag and some extracurricular activity in the end zone.
I'd say the offensive line is having a good day. We said that's the group that has to continue to get better, getting ready for the playoffs. They've opened some big creases here early in this game.
Illegal formation. Offense. Number 67, reported as an eligible receiver and was covered up by number 75, who also reported as an eligible receiver. That's a 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Yeah, here's Kenyatta Walker right here. I mean, he's covered up right here by Todd Stussy. Really, Todd Stussy is the only one that has to report eligible. He's the lineman that doesn't have a receiver's number. He's the only one that needs to report.
So the Bucs push back to the 6-yard line. Jamil Cook and Mike Allstott in the backfield. Again, it's Allstott. And he goes over the top down to the 3.
I think it's time to throw Cadillac Williams. You know, when you look at the teams right now that are powerful, I mean, most of them have more than one good back. And, you know, and that's really what the Bucs have. I mean, they just keep running Allstott and Pittman, a whole lot of Cadillac at you. But Pittman can get over there, get himself a little Gatorade, you know, say, why didn't I just score the touchdown and end the suspense right here? Give me one more yard of fuel.
Cadillac Williams back in the game. Sims to the end zone. Touchdown, Joey Galloway, his team record 10th of the season.
Kenny, the only way you can make that throw is if you practice it over and over again. Because really, you make that throw regardless of what the defense does. You just throw it to a spot. And it went right by the defender. This is just a fade stop out here. Working against Fakir Brown. Boom. See, the defender's not looking at the ball. He never sees it. So you go out there, you respect Joey Galloway's speed to go to the corner, and then you stop. Fade, stop, touchdown.
Sims and Galloway have become very good friends. Sims told us on Friday that Galloway is the fastest human being he has ever met.
Like Superman in shoes, huh?
So the 11-year veteran sets a club record, 10 touchdowns for Joey Galloway. 2 today. Two long scoring drives for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 15 plays, 88 yards, and then 3 plays, 70 yards, including the 64-yard run by Pittman.
Already today, that running attack behind that offensive line, 10 rushes for 101 yards this early in the second quarter.
Lions kickoff taken 5 yards deep in the end zone by Stecker. So the Saints will start from their 20 as we check in with Chris Myers. Chris?
Kenny, Joey Galloway told me before the game he's never been around somebody who has progressed so fast in such little time as Chris Sims. And he said because his father, Phil, was in the NFL, he felt that Chris was always on the scene and felt comfortable. And even though he's soft-spoken in the huddle, he said guys are impressed on the team with his confident walk, not his words. And obviously his arm is not bad either.
That was like a pitch blown away over the outside part of the plate for a strikeout. I mean, that was a perfectly thrown ball.
2 touchdowns for Galloway today, 14-3 Tampa Bay. Saints start from their own 20-yard line. Bauman on first down, in trouble. Got rid of it. He was under pressure from Ellis Wims.
The whole key to this defense of the Bucs. I mean, this defense now is entering the 10th straight year where they finish in the top 10 in defense. And they'd like to finish number 1 here today, but it always starts with the front 4. Can you rush the quarterback with 4 guys without blitzing, without sending safeties and linebackers? And Monty has always had good pass rushers here. Led this year by Simeon Rice, Greg Spires, did a good job of being able to pressure a quarterback with only 4.
Second and 10. Bauman incomplete. Intended for Joe Horn as we say hello once again to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Hey, Kenny, I know Brian Baldiger's seen a lot of this. Jerome Bettis, 13th season. He bulls it over for his 92nd career touchdown. All tied at 14. Pittsburgh needs to win to get into the postseason. Sean Alexander, new record, single-season rushing record, touchdown record with 28, breaking Priest Holmes' mark. 25 more yards, and he'll be the season leader in rushing. Back to Kenny and Brian.
All right, JB, Priest Holmes set that record just 2 seasons ago. Sean Alexander with 28 touchdowns. Pass is caught by Oz Hakeem, but he's tackled about 3 yards shy of the marker.
Think about that, Kenny. 28 touchdowns. There's teams in this league that haven't gained 28 touchdowns this season.
The Saints have 22.
There you go. I mean, what a year of production. You know, you think about it going back to last year. He lost the rushing title in the final week of the season, final game, by 1 yard to Curtis Martin. So he came back with a vengeance this year and are just shattering records now.
And was not happy that he was taken out of that last game early.
They may take him out here today, I think, up in Green Bay after that.
Good punt by Berger. Mark Jones, who had that big return in overtime for the Bucs last week to set up a game-winning field goal against Atlanta. And Jones takes the 60-yard punt back 23 yards. Back in Tampa on New Year's Day, a 14-3 lead for the Bucs. Chris Sims with 2 touchdown passes, both to Joey Galloway.
I think the cheerleaders are ready for the playoffs, Kenny. They look like they're ready for a home playoff game next week.
And if the Bucs win, that will be the case. A win, and they would earn the number 3 seed in the NFC behind Seattle and Chicago. That pass broken up. Fakir Brown got a piece of it.
You know, I was watching the post-game celebration of the Bucs in that thrilling victory last week against Atlanta in overtime, and John Gruden just started this chant in the locker room, pound the rock. Pound the rock, it means a couple different things for this team, but like one of them is run the football. When you run the football, good things happen, and when they went to the Super Bowl 3 years ago, the offensive line came together, Pittman, Allstott came together. They really began to pound the rock, and when they did, great things happened to this whole team.
They've pounded it today.
They're over 100 yards already today, and they're pounding it some more.
No chance that time as Will Smith got into the backfield.
Yeah, he just pounded Cadillac on that one. This is their best player right here for the New Orleans Saints is Will Smith. The guy that probably beginning next year will be a perennial Pro Bowl player. Leads this team in sacks with 8.5. Just an animal on the field. Heck of a guy off the field, but really plays the game the right way. One of the building blocks for the future of this Saints franchise.
Second year out of Ohio State, had 7.5 sacks as a rookie last year, 8.5 this season. 3 wide receivers, 3rd and 12. Sims setting up the screen to Pittman. And Pittman is tackled at the 36 after gaining just 4. So the Bucs will send out Pro Bowl punter Josh Bidwell for the first time today.
I was talking to Josh before the game. You know, he punted for so long up in Green Bay. I was like, what's it like to punt on a perfect day? Palm trees, sunny skies, New Year's Day. It's such a relief. You know, that you punt up in Green Bay, it's 10 below 0. You're punting in January, December. It's like punting a block of ice. Going to the Pro Bowl here this year.
And this past Wednesday, became a father for the first time.
Very
Grady
exciting.
John Bidwell, born on Wednesday. Penalty marker down as Bidwell's punt takes a Bucs roll all the way down to the 21-yard line. 42-yard punt.
Something happened out of bounds on the Bucs sideline. See the field judge with his hat off. Anytime you see one of the referees with their hat off, they've thrown it to indicate there's an infraction out of bounds.
Holding number 46 of the return team. The 10-yard penalty, first down.
Well, the Saints do not have a 46, so Jim Haslett trying to figure out exactly what happened.
The game is brought to you by Peter Partner, White House Networks.
There he goes. You see that? I just read the lips there, Kenny. Wait a second. We don't have a 46. Who's guilty of the infraction? Maybe 46 on the Bucs.
Lou Adams, 46 on the Tampa Bay side, but Haslett still trying to figure out that call on a player that does not play for the Saints. Here's Chris Myers.
Kenny, you were talking about Josh Bidwell, who is a cancer survivor. His wife, Bethany, their first child you talked about Wednesday. Brady, John, happy and healthy. Josh Bidwell going to the Pro Bowl, of course, and the kicking game is what the Bucs wanted to improve to win close games, and that's something they've done this year.
All right, thanks, Chris. They also brought in Matt Bryant as the pitch goes to Antoine Smith. And he's brought down by Dwayne White. Bucs were last in field goal percentage each of the last 2 years. Brought in Bryant, and he's kicked a couple of game winners.
Oh, if you want to get John Gruden really ticked off, ask him about the field goal kicking the last 2 years that they've been out of the playoffs. The league's worst. They couldn't find a guy that could make a kick. This year, Matt Bryant, a couple game-winning kicks. A huge upgrade. Only missed 4 kicks the entire season. The eyes of Simeon Rice, 12 sacks this year, knows this is a chance to rush the quarterback here.
3 wide receivers, second down and 15. And the Saints keep it on the ground with Aaron Stecker. And Stecker takes it out to the 14-yard line, gain of 7, tackled by Shelton Quarles.
You look at it, what's going on around the league today, Kenny. A lot of teams, a chance that they win, that they're in. And to the fans, it just seems like that should be all the motivation there is. But you still have to go out there and suck in the oxygen. You still have to play with pain. You still have to execute in order to get the win. Nothing changes. Just because you're more motivated doesn't make the execution necessarily better. That's what the Bucs are fighting here today, trying to do the things right way. Carolina now leading Atlanta by 17 points. Bauman fires for a first down. Out to the 28-yard line. Dante Stallworth picks up 14. I think John Gruden said something that all these coaches that are telling their teams, like John Fox in Carolina, like Bill Cowher in Pittsburgh, is that if you're not ready to play in this league, you'll get beat. I mean, it's just that much parity going on in the league. There's a chance in the NFC this year where a team with a 10-6 record won't make the playoffs for only the 3rd time in the history of the NFL.
From the 28, Smith out across the 30. Well, it has been a very trying 4 months for this New Orleans Saints franchise following Hurricane Katrina, which devastated the New Orleans area. An emotional victory. John Carney with 3 seconds remaining. The field goal to beat Carolina. The Saints have played in 3 different home stadiums. The Meadowlands, the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, and Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge. And then the questions, will Aaron Brooks return? Will Jim Haslett return for the final year of his contract? 2nd and 8. Bauman to Oz Hakeem, who picks up another Saints first down. Saints on Friday, Brian, were paid a visit by NFL Commissioner Paul Tagliabue.
And basically the commissioner came in and really wanted to talk to the owner, Tom Benson, right there, talk to Haslam, talk to the players about what the future holds. And the league and Tom Benson want to keep the team in Louisiana. Practice in Louisiana. In fact, a lot of the players are moving out of their apartments this week, going to go back to their homes in Louisiana, set up shop back in Metairie, where their practice facility is, and get things started for next year. Start the rebuilding process really right here in the new year.
Antoine Smith out to the 49, and when Commissioner Tagliabue and other league officials visited the Saints in San Antonio Friday, they brought along and passed out those $40,000 bonus checks, which were given to the players for, quote, performing under unusual and unanticipated conditions.
Well, it was a peace offering, basically, because the players were upset that the commissioner and the NFL hadn't come to visit the Saints earlier and kind of throw, a big hug around the guys saying, we know this is going to be a difficult year. We're here to help you, whatever we can do. And they never really did that. And the players were bitter about it and angry. And so I think the peace offering kind of helped mend some of the fences this past week.
And the commissioner spent all day in San Antonio, answered questions from the players. Bauman looking for Devery Henderson, and there is a flag. Brian Kelly on the coverage.
The defensive pass interference against Brian Kelly. Got flagged last week against the Falcons on a similar
Pass
play.
interference, 25 of the defense. It's an automatic first down.
Take a look at it here. Devery Henderson with a lot of speed. Played his football at LSU in Baton Rouge. Hard to believe that merits a flag right now.
One question, Brian, was that ball catchable?
I mean, that'd be the thing I would argue, is that the ball was thrown out of bounds. It landed well out of bounds.
27-yard pickup for the Saints on the penalty. Two tight ends from the 24. Anthony Thomas, who had some big years in Chicago, spent some time with Dallas earlier this season.
Interesting talking to Jim Haslett about this team, though, Kenny, because around the league, everybody says the Saints have talent, a lot of talent, but they just don't play smart. And asking Jim Haslett to evaluate his team, he said, we don't really have very much talent. We have one blue chip player out there right now. LaCharles Bentley, he's not playing on offense. Deuce McAllister is hurt. They'd be our only blue chip players. We have one on defense right now, Will Smith. He said the Bucs have 6 or 7 guys. He said the talent that we have, we really need a lot of help in a lot of places.
On 2nd and 10, Bauman steps up, looks to dump it off to Thomas. Yet when we speak with players and coaches from around this division, they all say the same thing. The Saints have as much talent as any other of the three, Atlanta, Tampa Bay, Carolina.
Yeah, and I think, look, there's a lot of players that are out. Take a look at these guys. Deuce McAllister hurt early this year. LaCharles Bentley is a Pro Bowl center. He's not playing. Jamal Brown was their #1 draft pick. Looks like he's going to have a bright future on the offensive line. Mike McKenzie was a huge pickup last year in a trade. Mike McKenzie said he was so disappointed. He's from Miami, Florida. He was dying to come back to the state of Florida and play today.
Here's Bauman out of the shotgun, looking for Devery Henderson in the end zone, and he makes the catch for the touchdown.
You can't feather a ball any better than Todd Bauman did right there to Devery Henderson. Once again, the Saints continue to move the football on offense. Last week, missed just a couple of opportunities to score touchdowns. This is a beautiful throw by Todd. The right touch, perfect timing. Nice job by Henderson of hanging on to that football in the end zone.
Henderson's 3rd touchdown reception this season, 2nd touchdown for Todd Bauman. Carney for the extra point. For Bauman, his 11th career touchdown pass, 4 of the 11 went to Randy Moss. Saints, buoyed by that 27-yard pass interference penalty on Kelly, have pulled to within 4 in Tampa. The Saints put together an impressive 88-yard drive. The Devery Henderson touchdown catch set up by that 27-yard pass interference penalty whistled on Brian Kelly.
Pretty questionable call, but the Saints haven't gotten many calls go their way this year. They'll take it here in the new year.
Berger kicking off. Bryant, another chance for Pittman. Not this time.
You can't return a kickoff if you don't catch the ball.
So the Bucs will start from their own 20.
And watch the interference here by Brian Kelly. Okay, now there is contact right there, but watch where the ball ends here. This is an uncatchable ball. See, the flag's already thrown, but I think you have to hold the flag until you see that it hits the pylon all the way out of bounds there.
The officials can also pick up the flag if they deem it uncatchable.
See, but he never looked to see where the ball landed. I mean, it's an uncatchable ball, so I think when that happens, you have to go pick up the flag.
By the way, a couple of moments ago, we saw the score in our Fox box, 20-3 Carolina. A touchdown was taken away from the Panthers on a review. They kicked a field goal, so the score is now 17-3. Panthers over the Falcons as Cadillac Williams gains 6 out to the 26. Both the Bucs and the Panthers with 10 wins. Tampa Bay has the tiebreaker should they finish tied, if both teams win or if both teams lose today. Tampa Bay with a win would clinch the 3rd seed and host a playoff game next week against either Washington, Dallas, or Carolina. 2nd and 4. Intended for the tight end, Alex Smith. Dwight Smith, the former Buck, on the coverage.
Dwight Smith had a lot of interesting things to say last night to us. You know, he was a Buck, and he was a young defensive back here for when they won the Super Bowl 3 years ago. So that's interference right there, but Dwight Smith just likes to play the game, and he learned the game the right way from Monty Kiffin, from the staff here in Tampa, about what the standard is and what the standard should be to play defense. He said that is not in place in New Orleans. That's what's missing as they try to rebuild this team.
Dwight Smith returned 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions for touchdowns in the Super Bowl victory over the Oakland Raiders. Sims swings it out. Michael Pittman down the sidelines, and Pittman picks up a Bucs first down out at the 35, a gain of 9.
Well, if you remember talking about that playoff run 3 years ago, Michael Pittman was the guy that carried this football team. I mean, he's a big, strong guy, but he was a guy that got the running game going. He had a lot of emotion. He played with what John Gruden likes to call a lot of juice, and now that's kind of fallen on the rookie, Cadillac Williams. Michael Pittman has a backup role, but John Gruden loves to use Michael Pittman in the passing game. He's a great matchup against linebackers and safeties.
He gained 124 yards in the Super Bowl in his hometown of San Diego. Williams coughed it up, and the Bucs able to recover.
Tell you what, there's nobody in New Orleans out there playing right now that has their bags packed, Kenny. That's what you always worry about. Last game of the season, let's just get off the field, let's don't get hurt. Watch the effort right here. Brian Young on the nose right there. Well, there's Dwight Smith knocking the ball out. He just stripped that ball.
And it was recovered by Sean Mahan, the right guard. We have hit the 2-minute warning here in Tampa. A 4-point lead for Chris Sims and the Bucs.
Hold back, get involved with the gym. Don't be a prick, hot chick, be a pig. Don't hold back, the world, you're holding back. The time has come to the world, you're holding back. The time has come to a world, you're holding back. The time has come to galvanize.
Neither team holding back today. Season finale for the Saints. Bucs hope to win and play a home game next weekend. 3rd down and 11. Bucs have to get to the 45 for a first down. Penalty flag as the catch was made by Edel Shepard, and we could hear that hit.
Did you see that shot by Dwight Smith? So that's what happens when you play against your old team. There's just that revenge factor, and Dwight Smith can bring the wood. Ooh, hello, Joe. Hello, Edel Shepard. Welcome to the new year here.
Holding, 79 of the offense. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
Tell you know that everybody will go and pat Dwight Smith on the shoulder. I mean, everybody hears that kind of a hit, sees that kind of effort right there, and that's what he brought to this team. And professionalism. There was a lot of teams that were interested in Dwight Smith in the free agent market, and he thought the Saints were close. And little did he know that this whole thing was going to unravel unfortunate incidents, but he has no regrets about going to the Saints. He still believes they can be a very good team in a short period of time.
Bidwell's punt fielded at the 16 by Hakeem. He falls down, gets back up, and then is knocked to the turf by the rookie linebacker Barrett Ruud. 7-yard return following a 46-yard punt. Well, Terry Bradshaw predicted about a month ago that the Redskins would run the table. They've won their last 4. Look to make it 5 in a row and clinch their first playoff berth since 1999. Redskins and the Eagles coming up next on Fox. Redskins' last playoff game right here in Tampa.
So Bradshaw predicted this 5 weeks ago, that the Redskins were going to run the table. I want him to read my palm. I mean, what other kind of predictions can he make right here?
I'd love to hear Terry's predictions for the new year.
Yeah, exactly. The Amazing Kreskin used to do that, right? And we could just have the Amazing Bradshaw out there.
Catch made by Zach Hilton for a gain of 9.
I used to always listen New Year's Day to the Amazing Kreskin growing up. You know, what was going to happen this year? Was he going to say anything that was of importance that was going to happen?
Well, hopefully we will hear again from the Amazing Bradshaw. Picked off by Jerron Bolden. Second interception thrown by Todd Bauman today. Second pick this year for the backup quarterback Jerron Bolden, who has bounced around playing for his 6th NFL team. And he sets up terrific field position for the Bucs.
Yeah, just really a bad throw here, because really the Bucs are just playing the basic coverage right here. Jerron Bolden's got his eyes right here on Todd Bauman the whole way. Really trying to fit that, squeeze that ball into a really tight area in the defense, and really they're looking at him the whole time. All the eyes on Todd. Really gives the Bucs good field position here with a little over a minute to go before the half.
Bucs with 1 timeout remaining. They start from the New Orleans 28. And that pass deflected, nearly caught by Hilliard after Fred Thomas got a piece of it.
Saints second to the bottom of the league in turnovers this year to the Green Bay Packers. -2 today. I mean, you really at the end of the season, when you evaluate what happened, what went wrong, what went right, usually turnover ratio is about the second or third thing you point to when you have a good season or if you have a bad season.
Will Allen and Jerron Bolden with the interceptions today for the Bucs. Sims with time on 2nd and 10, and that pass nearly intercepted. It was intended for Galloway, and the rookie out of Nebraska, Josh Bullocks, nearly came up with the pick.
Oh, remember we were talking about how Jim Haslett was evaluating his roster and saying that they're not as talented as a lot of people think. One area that he really likes is the safeties. He likes the rookie Josh Bullocks. He likes Dwight Smith. He likes Jay Bellamy, who was hurt and on injured reserve this year. Missed most of the season. Thinks that's a real strength to the team. Does think that they need to find themselves a middle linebacker. Just a real stud in the middle.
Third down and 10. And that pass batted down by Jason Kraft, the left corner.
That was just a bad drive. I mean, you get the turnover, you get great field position, and then you get 3 balls deflected. That's Alex Smith working on Charles Grant. Pretty good job, but Jason Kraft came untouched. He's the one that tipped the ball.
So Bryant out to attempt a 46-yard field goal, hit a career best 50-yarder last week against Atlanta. Bidwell the holder. And a timeout called by the Saints. Their first timeout. Saints with 2 remaining. Bucs have 1. Coming up next on our Visa halftime report, JB, Howie, Jimmy, and the amazing Terry Bradshaw.
Absolutely.
Who predicted this Redskins run. The Visa halftime report, scores and highlights, Fox Sports ticker as well. That's all coming up after 50 seconds of football.
Well, you know, if Bradshaw's looking at the Redskins, the chance to win their last 5 in a row. We saw them in St. Louis 4 weeks ago when they were 5-6. And really, they got healthy up front. You look at their defensive line, you'll watch it later today on Fox, guys like Cornelius Griffin and Joe Salavea, they are fantastic at stopping the run. I mean, really eliminating that right there. Defensively, they've gotten healthy. And then Clinton Portis averaging 25 carries and 115 yards the last month of the season.
And over in the AFC, you saw Kansas City with a big lead on Cincinnati. Pittsburgh by a touchdown over Detroit. 46-yard attempt. And Bryant extends the Bucs lead to 7. So the Bucs have now scored 10 points off turnovers and now lead the Saints 17-10.
And that operation by the center there, Dave Moore, was very good. Watch this snap. Last week, some question marks. Got that ball to Josh Bidwell. Perfect snap. Looked like he got kind of a little palm tree breeze blowing that thing back into the middle of the field goal. Look at Dave Moore right there looking up going, thank you.
Do you know how long Dave Moore's been around?
Oh, man, yes. I actually do.
You know who threw Dave Moore his first touchdown pass?
Well, I know he's in his 14th year out of Pittsburgh, but I don't know who threw him his first pass.
Vinny
Testaverde, who just, I guess, announced his retirement last Monday night.
Again?
Yeah, again, right. But, you know, Dave Moore basically came here this year to be the long snapper, but the way protection has worked out, young quarterback, Dave Moore is now part of a 3 tight end package. And really playing a lot of tight ends. I asked John Gruden about it. He goes, hey, baby, it's about survival. Protecting a young quarterback, giving the offensive line some confidence, and saying Dave Moore now playing a lot more than he was expected to.
I remember coming here in '94 when Sam Weitz was the head coach, and he would use Dave Moore in the backfield. In fact, Sam named the position after Dave Moore. He called the position the Moore back.
There we go. That's what they do. They don't get too complicated in this game.
Aaron Stecker on the return for the Saints. There is a flag as Stecker takes it out to the 28. 38 seconds remaining in the half.
Holding 44, the return team. 10 yards. It'll be first down.
Well, the Saints do have a number 44. It's Mike Carney, and you can hear him questioning the referee, Jeff Triplett.
Well, that's what I used to do on New Year's Day, Kenny. That was at nap time. About right now, in the middle of the afternoon, lazy nap, get ready for the afternoon tilt there in Philadelphia.
Panthers not taking a nap. They lead the Falcons 24-3.
Panthers went there with the purpose. I think they were ticked off about how they played against the Cowboys last week. Lost a chance to win the division. A couple young guns right there. Chris Sims and Cadillac Williams. And I think if you're a Buck fan, you get ready to watch the Bucks over the next few years. I think you'll be talking a lot about Sims and Cadillac Williams.
Saints will run out the clock in this second quarter. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who need a win to clinch the division title and host a playoff game next weekend, with a 7-point halftime lead. Chris Sims with a pair of touchdown passes to Joey Galloway. Devery Henderson with the touchdown for Jim Haslett's Saints. So at the half, it's the Buccaneers 17, the Saints 10. The Visa halftime report with JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy is coming up. Fantasy. Mitch Berger kicking off for the Saints, and this second half is underway. It's taken at the 6 by Pittman. Pittman out across the 40 and finally taken down. 37 yards on the return as we check in downstairs with Chris Myers.
Kenny, Jim Haslett said he liked the intensity and energy level from his team with what the Bucs have. He said Todd Bowman didn't play real great in the first half. There's a chance we could see third-string quarterback Adrian McPherson later in this game. Meanwhile, John Gruden told his team at halftime we're 30 minutes of football away from a division title. He wants the defense to play harder. He also said he'd like to put more of an emphasis on the running game, and his grimace had a smile, and he also said Happy New Year.
Very nice. Thanks, Chris. Bucs start from the 43-yard line. Cadillac Williams into Saints territory. There is a flag as Cadillac is finally forced out of bounds at the 36 after a gain
Holding,
of 21.
79
But
in
it's
the
coming
offense.
back.
It's a 10-yard penalty. Still first down.
Okay, when I said at the beginning of the show today that the offensive line has to continue to get better, part of what they have to get better at is eliminating the mistakes, eliminating the holding call. Sean Mahan right there is looking at himself on the big screen to see where the hold is. He's been pulling all day. Number 79, he's pulling from right to left. He gets that block on the outside of Fakir Brown, and he does. He's got a hold. He's got a hold of the cornerback shirt right there, and it was a good call. Got to be technically perfect here going into the postseason.
Sims changing the play clock winding down. 1st and 20. Michael Pittman makes the catch. And he breaks one tackle. Michael Pittman, terrific second after Colby Buckwalt had him wrapped up, and he winds up gaining 22 yards and a Bucs first down.
Yeah, he's got the tag of the MVP here today. Kickoff returns, big runs after catches right here. Just see the strength right here. I mean, Colby Buckwalt led this team in tackles last week. Broke right through there. That's what's missing from the Saints at the end of that play was some gang tackle.
Williams in the backfield. Pittman goes for a rest on the sidelines. Hilliard in motion from the Saints 45. Cadillac up the middle. Gains a couple down to the 43. Forced back by Charles Grant.
I'm just looking out here at Joey Galloway, who was singled up on the last play. And Chris Sims keeps looking out there at him because when he gets this situation right here, the safety's out all the way out here in the middle of the field. Joey Galloway has a green light just to run a streak route, just a go route. And Chris Sims keeps looking out there. Eventually, they're just going to throw that ball to him, and try and get a big play. Right now, they're trying to get the running game going, so they're holding off on it, but it's available.
2nd down and 7. Galloway in the slot. Sims. Galloway could not hang on. Took a hard hit. Again, it's Dwight Smith.
Well, Dwight Smith led the Saints in tackles in the first half, and he hasn't let up yet. He was saying, though, interesting, he left the Bucs last year for free agency, signed a big, fat contract with the New Orleans Saints, and he said sometimes, it's not always greener on the other side. And he didn't realize how good he had it in Tampa. The emphasis on defense, the emphasis on the standards of how you practice, how you play. He hasn't found that in New Orleans.
He's tried to bring some of that veteran leadership that he learned here in Tampa. 3rd down and 7. Sims in trouble. Down he goes. Fred Thomas with the sack, his 3rd of the season.
Yeah, this is Fred Thomas, the 2nd time that he's blitzed this type of situation. Here he is kind of cheating up here. Nobody accounts for him. Comes right off the corner there. Nobody to pick him up, and they covered the first receiver so well. Sims didn't have anywhere else to go. Had to kind of just bite it there. A lot of guys flexing out here today. You notice that? You come up and wake up this morning flexing at all, Kenny?
I did for the new year. Bidwell's punt nearly blocked by Fakir Brown. And a fair catch by Oz Hakeem at the 10. A 39-yard punt. Early 3rd quarter. Bucs by 7.
Simeon having a good time out there right now. Welcome to the Jungle being sung here during that timeout. Getting into it. Starting to feel a little bit like a jungle in here. Hot and humid. Fans can feel a division title in the future here.
74 degrees at opening kickoff. Saints starting from their own 10-yard line. Antoine Smith gains just 1 out to the 11. Chris Hovan in on the tackle.
I tell you, here's the offensive leaders here. Todd Bauman threw the 1 touchdown, 2 picks in that first half. Antoine Smith's had a good game so far, running really right at the teeth of that Buck defense. Zach Hilton, the big 6'8" tight end. A couple of catches. Those are some good seats right there for some kids in the front row on New Year's Day.
Second down and 8. Bauman got rid of it quickly to Stallworth. We welcome those of you who have been watching the Carolina Panthers and the Atlanta Falcons. Panthers leading that game 27-3 in the third quarter. Kenny Albert, Brian Baldinger, Chris Myers here in Tampa. A 7-point lead for the Bucs, who will clinch the NFC South with a victory and gain a home game in the playoffs next week, as well as the number 3 seed. However, a Carolina win and Tampa Bay loss, and the Panthers would win the division title. Pass caught by Dante Stallworth for a Saints first down, gain of 13.
Kind of amazing, Kenny, when you think about the NFC South and how it's just been juggled all year. And here we are coming down to the final 30 minutes of a 16-game schedule to decide who's going to win this division. If you look at this division in the last 4 years, Tampa won it in its inception year, 2002. Then Carolina won it. Then Atlanta won last year. And now Tampa Bay trying to regain it here and hold on and win it for the second time in 4 years.
From the 30, Smith up the middle, gain of 2.
Remember when this division started, when they did all the rearrangement, 32 teams, that they called this the NASCAR division. And it's really heated up to be one of the most heated divisions, if not the most heated in all of football. Wearing the championship banner from that 2002 Super Bowl. John Gruden coming over, taking over for Tony Dungy, winning it in his first year here.
Panthers went to the Super Bowl following the 03 season, lost to New England. As Bauman swings it out to Stecker. And Aaron Stecker brought down at the 35, setting up third down and 5. And then the Falcons won the division last year. Went to the NFC Championship game. Were beaten by the Philadelphia Eagles.
And I think if you look at this division over the last 4 years, defense defines it. I mean, right now the Bucs are the number 2 defense in all of pro football. They were number 1 3 years ago when they won the Super Bowl. Carolina is a top 4 defense in this league. New Orleans Saints' talent is on defense.
Bauman out of the shotgun. Saints have to get to the 40. Stecker will not make it. Hit for a loss of 2 yards. Derek Brooks, the first Buck on the tackle.
Well, what you saw there was defense. I mean, they forced Todd Bauman to throw the check down. That's the safety valve to the back. And then 4 people are waiting for him. Todd Bauman knows after forcing one at the end of the first half, don't force another one in your own territory and give the Bucs offense a chance for a short field.
Mitch Berger's punt, end over end, fielded out to 27 by Mark Jones. A return of only 2 out to the 29. Fred McAfee with the tackle on special teams following the 40-yard punt. Buccaneers leading by 7, start from their own 29-yard line.
Slow down here in the last 4 drives on offense.
Cadillac Williams sneaking out to the 33, a gain of 4 on first down. They scored touchdowns on those first 2 long drives, and on their last 4 drives, 3 punts and a field goal.
Okay, so much of this offense has been built around young guns. I mean, Chris Sims, Cadillac Williams, Alex Smith, and really Sims off to a good start. 2 touchdown passes to Galloway. But really, Alex Smith has been shut out here today. No catches so far. Cadillac has been kept in the garage so far to this point.
Play action on second down. Sims going deep for Galloway off his fingertips.
There's the home run shot to Joey Galloway. Here it is, working against Freddie Thomas here. Maybe about as much straight line speed as any wide receiver in the game of football today, and that ball was perfectly thrown, bounced right off the fingertips of Galloway.
And if anyone knows about Joey Galloway, it's Fred Thomas, former teammates in Seattle.
And we said that when you get one-on-one coverage with Joey Galloway, you have to take your shots. Said this a couple. Here it is, right here. Safety all the way in the middle of the field. You've got to take that shot right there. Whether you make it or not, you have to throw it.
Now 3rd down and 6. Bucks have to get to the 39. There is a flag. Sims not very happy as he heads off to the Bucks sidelines.
That's about as much emotion from Chris Sims as I've seen when something didn't go right.
Holding 67 of the offense. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
That's on the right tackle, Walker.
Now that's the 3rd holding call on this offensive line today. And really, you know, when you get to the postseason, here it is. I mean, just tackled Brian Young there in the middle. But really, Chris Sims didn't get the ball off right, couldn't get the ball down the field, but they're holding this offense back right now. Not really winning the line of scrimmage, and they're struggling here for the last quarter.
Josh Bidwell's punt fielded at the 19 by Hakeem. Down the sidelines. And a flag after Hakeem stepped out of bounds at the 33. 14-yard return, 48-yard punt by Bidwell.
Tell by Hazlett's reaction that it's going to be against the Saints. At least one of the flags. There's a couple of them out there on the field. Jim fighting like crazy to get a victory here. Start the new year off right. At least travel home today with a good feeling from the team.
There are 2 fouls on the play. During the return, holding number 23 of the return team. Also during the return, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 90 of the kicking team. By rule, those penalties will offset at the dead ball spot. 1st and 10, New Orleans.
They said fly home. Saints will fly to San Antonio, and then most of them will disperse tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Sims and the Buccaneers leading the Saints 17-10 midway through quarter number 3. Anthony Thomas in the backfield. Bauman, pump fake, and now throws, and it's incomplete, intended to Dante Stallworth, and there is a flag.
Yeah, it's going to be on Brian Kelly out there. Little double move on the outside. He bit and grabbed the receiver. Didn't let him get by, so it'll be an automatic 1st down for the Saints.
Illegal contact, 25 of the defense. It's a 5-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
There's Brian Kelly up at the top here. Little double move that time by Dante Stallworth. So even that ball was overthrown. I mean, that's the hole. That's the area in cover 2 with 2 deep safeties, Kenny, that you have to get that ball into if you're going to make big plays in the passing game.
Remember the earlier penalty called on Kelly, a 27-yard pass interference, which led to the Saints touchdown. Anthony Thomas, not much. As we send it to Los Angeles once again, a game break with James Brown.
Hey, Kenny, Pittsburgh knows it has to win this game in order to get into the postseason. Jerome Bettis, 4 carries, 3 touchdowns, 94th career touchdown. They're up by 7 over Detroit in the 3rd. By the way, that 91st career rushing touchdown for him ties him for 8th with Franco Harris. Back to Kenny and Brian.
It's only a 1-touchdown lead for the Steelers. Chiefs lead the Bengals by 24. A Pittsburgh win, and they are in. A Pittsburgh loss and a Chiefs win, and Kansas City would be the number 6 seed in the AFC. Aaron Stecker, penalty marker, as Stecker is tackled at the 39.
There was a holding against Derek Brooks out there. Derek Brooks is pointing it out to the referees. Yeah. And Derek Brooks is a machine. Had 9 tackles in the first half.
61 of the offense. It's a 10-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
That's on the left guard, Montre Holland.
That's Derek Brooks talking to Montre Holland right there. Tell him, yeah, that was all you. You tackled me. Otherwise, I would have made the tackle.
Montre Holland liked Derek Brooks out of Florida State. They did not play together. 8 years apart. And Derek on the board of trustees. So Montre Holland having a conversation with...
Not about the board of trustees.
Yeah, no, not about the board of trustees.
About backing his offense up a few more yards.
So a 2nd down and 20. 3 receivers set. Stecker in the backfield. Over the middle to a wide open Stecker. And he runs right over Rondé Barber, takes it out to the 39, gain of 11.
See, if you're Aaron Stecker right there, and there's 2 defenders waiting to tackle you, you have to go choose one. So you could either choose Shelton Quarles, the middle linebacker, or you could choose Rondé Barber. Watch him after he catches this ball when he squares up to the defense, which one he ends up taking on. I mean, here comes Rondé Barber, and here comes Shelton Quarles. Now, you know what? I'll tack the little guy and take my shot running him over rather than the big guy, the middle linebacker, Quarles.
Six defensive backs in for the Bucs. 3rd down and 9. Bauman in trouble. Down he goes. Back at the 37-yard line.
Simeon Rice.
His 13th sack.
You can only keep him down for so long. I mean, Simeon's going to get his because he's relentless. And he's in great condition. So he was working against Wayne Gandy. Gandy does a decent job keeping him out. But now Bauman gets flushed, and he steps up. And that's when Simeon Rice, just staying after it, the tenacity of staying after it, gets himself his 13th sack of the season.
And his 15th in his career, Brian, against the Saints, more than he has against any other club in the NFL. Fair catch at the 21. 41-yard punt.
During the kick, holding 39 of the receiving team. It's a 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
That's on Calvin Pearson of the Bucs. Late 3rd quarter in Tampa. Kenny Albert, Brian Baldinger, Chris Myers. All the scoring in the first half. Buccaneers leading by a touchdown. From the 11. Cadillac Williams, another flag.
Holding 98 of the defense. It's a 5-yard penalty and an automatic 1st down.
That's on Willie Whitehead.
Well, that's defensive holding. Willie Whitehead, who's playing right here. Probably going to grab 2. There he is. So he grabs Dan Benning right there, and he pulls him down. Now, normally, that just goes on every play. We don't show it a lot. Generally, they don't throw the flag on it for whatever reason. They call that one.
From the 16, Williams. And Cadillac gains 3. Out to the 19-yard line, setting up 2nd down and 7. You ready to watch some football, Brian? Tomorrow morning, it's the 70th AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic as Texas Tech takes on Alabama. 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific on Fox.
I tell you, you want to watch some football tomorrow. Texas Tech is the #1 passing offense in all of college football. Over 400 yards a game, so that ball is going to be in the air a lot beginning at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning.
So tune in bright and early on January 2nd, the Cotton Bowl on Fox. Cadillac Williams out across the 20. 3rd and about 4 coming up, but first, a game break. Wow, a rout in Atlanta, so the Falcons will not make it back-to-back winning seasons for the first time.
39 years, never back-to-back winning seasons. I mean, what a disappointment the way they finished the final month.
Sims on 3rd and 4, and that pass was behind Ike Hilliard.
Tell you know, Chris Sims started out the opening drive 4 for 4 on 3rd down. And really, since that time, they're 1 of 8 on 3rd down. And if you're not converting 3rd downs, you're not hanging on to the football, you're not sustaining offense, you're making John Gruden awfully grouchy on January 1st, and you walk Josh Bidwell out there to punt.
Bidwell from his own 10. And a fair catch back at the 29-yard line by Hakeem. A 49-yard punt. Joey Thomas involved with Torrey Cox.
It's like a featherweight fight out there.
John Gruden has never beaten the Saints here in Tampa. New Orleans has come to Raymond James Stadium and won each of the last 3 seasons. Antoine Smith out across the 30. Gain of 2. And all 3 of those games have been close, all within a touchdown. In 2002, John Gruden's first game as Bucs head coach. The Saints won in overtime on an interception in the end zone. Thrown by the punter, Tom Tupa.
Well, he said, you know, look, we're not world beaters. I mean, we've lost to the San Francisco 49ers. We've lost to the Jets. We haven't beaten the Saints at home. He knew the dogfight that he was getting into here this afternoon. Now it's up to the defense here to just keep, you know, New Orleans off the scoreboard here. I think New Orleans has some big plays left in them here, especially from Todd Bauman's arm.
2nd down and 8. Bauman in trouble, gets rid of it. Oz Hakeem. He's brought down by Rondé Barber. There is a flag. Greg Spires with a late hit on the quarterback.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a 15-yard penalty against Greg Spires hitting Todd Bauman in the head and hitting him late. And then another one on the sideline. Penalties have really hurt the Bucs.
2 fouls on the play. Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Number 94 in the defense. Hit below the knee. That penalty is declined. Personal foul. Face mask. Number 20 of the defense. That penalty is accepted. 15 yards. Automatic first down.
30 yards of penalty there, Ken. On personal fouls. Here's the first one. Hitting Todd Bauman low below the knees. You don't hear that called very often. And then the face mask there by Ronnie Barber. Flagrant. The 15-yard variety. Really, Ronnie just being aggressive, just trying to get Oz Hakeem down to the ground. If I was the Saints right now, I would strike deep, and I would go Dante Stallworth here against Brian Kelly, who's had trouble down the field today.
Stallworth already with 5 catches today. Saints keep it on the ground with Antoine Smith, and he takes it down to the Buccaneers 47. Greg Spires made the tackle. Look at the scores each of the last 3 years when the Saints have come to Tampa.
You know that the Bucs, with their gaudy 10-5 record, they've only outscored their opponents by combined 12 points this year.
Wow.
A lot of close games this year, Ken.
And as you said, they lost to a pair of 3-12 teams. Bauman to the tight end, Zach Hilton. And Hilton picks up a first down at the 35. Gain of 14, and there is another flag. Bauman in the second half, Brian, 7 for 7.
Yeah, wow.
Ineligible downfield. Number 64 in the offense. The 5-yard penalty. It's still 2nd down.
That's on the center, Kendall Jaycox. That should never happen. I mean, that's a bootleg play, and it's a pass first all the way. So there's no reason for an offensive lineman to be downfield on the play. Here's Jaycox here snapping the ball to Bauman. They're just blocking backside right there. There's no reason to go after the linebacker there unless he just didn't know the play. And sometimes that happens. Remember, Kendall Jaycox now playing center for the injured Charles Bentley.
There were 2 penalties called the entire first half. 12 this quarter.
They're making up for that, huh?
6 on each team in the 3rd quarter. And now Bauman, with the play clock winding down, uses a timeout with 37 seconds remaining in the 3rd. Carolina 34-3 over Atlanta. Pittsburgh win, and they are in. 2-touchdown lead over the Lions. Coming up, a big one, Redskins and the Eagles in Philadelphia. Game 2 of our Fox doubleheader. If the Redskins win, they are in. Dallas will be rooting for the Philadelphia Eagles today. We'll look at Jim Haslett, the Saints head coach. Brian, in your opinion, will he be the head coach in New Orleans next season?
I don't think so. I think they're going to make a change. I think that the NFL, Tom Benson, is now committed to being back in New Orleans, helping with the rebuilding project after the devastation of Hurricane Katrina. And I think Benson's going to make a change. And I think Jim Haslett's going to kind of force that change. I think he went through a lot this year. I think he believes that he's now more qualified to coach than ever, learning how to handle all the adversity that can happen, as has happened this season, will make him a better coach in the future.
Following the timeout, Bauman complete. Oz Hakeem, another Saints first down. Down to the Bucs 33-yard line.
Well, this offense looks like an offense that wants to get ready for the playoffs, not the Bucs right now. I mean, that was a good protection up front right here. Todd Bauman right here, nice little play action fake. Real sure in the throw. And does that make him now 8 for 8? Kenny, he's now 8 for 8 here in this third quarter. Or now to start or just to end the third quarter.
So a perfect third quarter for Bauman. Saints on the move, trailing by a touchdown. They clinched a playoff spot when the Giants beat the Raiders last night in Oakland. We begin the fourth quarter with the Saints on the move from the Bucs 34-yard line, first down. Bauman to Stallworth. And Dante Stallworth takes it all the way down to the 23. Another Saints first down, a gain of 11.
He is so explosive. I mean, he's their best receiver right now, kind of taking that title away from Joe Horn, who's been banged up this year, but he caught that ball and was off. He was at full speed in 3 steps. Really good decision. That was just an audible that time by Bauman. Looking at Stallworth wide open out there.
Bauman now 8 for 8 in the second half. Hakeem in motion. Stallworth split to the right. Handoff on first down to Antoine Smith. And Smith gaining 3. Setting up second down and 7. Saints with a record of 3-12. 2 of their 3 wins have come against AFC clubs. The Jets and Bills. Their only win over an NFC team opening day in Charlotte. They've lost 10 of their last 11 games.
Lost last week. Detroit converted a 4th and 17 in the final 30 seconds. Ended up kicking a field goal. Only 1 touchdown that game, none by the offenses last week.
2nd and 7. Bauman, Hakeem inside the 10. So Bauman remains perfect, 9 for 9 in the second half, a gain of 12.
You remember talking to Todd last night? He said, I don't feel rusty. I feel like I'm seeing the field really, really well. A lot of options out there, but that's the open man. In the zone, Oz Hakeem right there gets down, holds on to the football, and Bauman right now is on one of those roles. That sometimes it's when an athlete says, I'm in the zone, he's in the zone right now. It's up to the Bucs to get him out of it.
First and goal from the 8. Stallworth split left, Hakeem to the right. Smith in the backfield. Bauman, incomplete. Intended for Hakeem, his first incomplete pass of this half.
It wasn't incomplete, but it was to the open man, and it was the right throw. It was low, about as low as you could get, where you want Oz just to kind of scoop that ball up with a shovel right here. That's the only area where it's open. It's just about perfect execution. That's how you actually practice that throw. You actually practice it where the receiver goes down and skids along the grass to catch it.
Hakeem with 5 catches today. Now 2nd and goal from the 8. 2 tight ends. Smith. And Smith pulls his way down inside the 6-yard line. Tackled by Dwayne White, setting up 3rd and goal.
Well, it's just a huge play right now. You know, like, what's the touchdown play here for the Saints? What's the knockout play to keep them out of the end zone for the Bucs?
Saints owner Tom Benson.
I would look for the tall guy, Zachary Hilton, 6'8". Seems like he's a pretty big target. Here he is at fullback right now.
And the Saints forced to call timeout. They did not have the right offensive alignment, and they used their second timeout. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers clinched the division with a victory. They lead by 7. 3rd and goal for the Saints from the Bucs 6. Bauman to the end zone, incomplete.
Nobody there. Hakeem is arguing that somebody grabbed him, but there was nobody there in the middle. And the Saints will do the right thing there. They'll go for the field goal, but really it didn't look like there was anybody in the area where Bauman was throwing. Hakeem looked like he just stopped on the route. He did stop on the route. Well, that timeout to get the right play on didn't seem like it was worth it.
So John Carney, who hit from 25 earlier, will attempt a 24-yard attempt from the right hash. Bauman is the holder. Carney from 24 nails it. So the Saints, early in the 4th, pull to within 4. New Orleans Saints hanging in there, trailing by only 4 with 12 minutes remaining. Burgers kickoff. Taken at the 5 by Michael Pittman. Pittman up the middle, out across the 25, a 21-yard return.
Now in the second half, the Bucs have come out and have been unable to move the football. 10 plays, 28 yards, 3 punts. It's Sims' job right here to kind of generate some electricity, some offense, generate something right now. Get the ball out of his hands, get Cadillac running the ball. I mean, they do not want to limp into the playoffs here offensively.
Cadillac Williams has been at his best in the 4th quarter. He's gained 38% of his rushing yards and has 4 of his 6 touchdowns in the 4th quarter. 4 receivers on first down. Pass deflected, diving, and picking it off is Ronald McKinnon.
Another tip ball that time. Middle linebacker Ronald McKinnon comes up with it. Seen a bunch of tip balls here today from Chris Sims. Great effort by McKinnon. Watch it here from the end zone. It's Will Smith. Will Smith, the guy that Jim Haslett said is our best football player and going to be a great one for years to come.
And now the red flag, the challenge by the Bucs. John Gruden taking a chance on whether or not the ball hit the ground.
Challenging the ruling on the field of an interception.
A diving play by the veteran Ronald McKinnon. 9 years with the Arizona Cardinals. Looked like an interception. Jeff Triplett will take another look.
We're going to take a look at this in slow motion, high technology here. You're going to see Ronald McKinnon right here. That ball hits the ground and then moves. That should be an incompletion. It should be the Bucs' ball. John Gruden should win a very good challenge, and I think his team knows it as the offense is walking back onto the field.
If the interception stands, the Saints would have a first down on the Bucs 25, but if it is overturned, it would be 2nd and 10 for the Bucs on their own 26. Jeff Triplett has reached a decision.
They have the same ability to blow that frame up like that, watching the ball hit the ground, and I think that's what should sway the opinion of Jeff Triplett.
After reviewing the play, the ball hit the ground and was moving. Therefore, he did not have possession. It is an incomplete pass. Tampa Bay is not charged a timeout. It'll be 2nd and 10 on the 26. Please put 11:56 back on the game clock. 11:56.
Bucks right now not really able to run the ball very well. Cadillac hadn't gotten off, and then Chris Sims, 4 batted passes right now today. Been hurried a bunch. Really, Will Smith right now is having a very, very good game. Lining up right now over the left tackle, Anthony Davis.
So a reprieve for the Bucks. Now 2nd and 10 from their own 26. And Cadillac Williams forced back, stays on his feet, and then is taken down back at the 25. A loss of 1 on the play, so a 3rd down and 11 coming up for the Bucks.
Well, watch the movement. There is no movement right here. Boom. I mean, they take Allstott on. They come up and force the guard right there. I mean, right there, that's just good run defense. A lot of bodies to the ball, taking guys on with the right shoulder, stuffing them at the point.
How about Carolina now leading Atlanta 37-3. Sims on 3rd and 11. It's complete. Joey Callaway. A 1st down. A 20-yard pass play.
Biggest offensive play of the 2nd half for the Bucks. It's not even close. 2 Galloway here working on Fakir Brown. Nice shake move. See the opening there. Not a lot of room to get that ball in there, but Sims threads it perfectly. Looking for a little bit of life. Maybe the passing game can loosen things up for Carnell Cadillac Williams.
On to the 2nd 1st down for the Bucks in the half. Off the play fake. Sims to the tight end, Smith. And Alex Smith with his first catch of today's game after he caught 8 against Atlanta last week.
And Sims was big because he takes a shot at the end of this throw right here. Good play action pass. Saints come after him. He takes a hit. Boom. Never even saw that completion. Maybe he did late. Alex Smith gets involved in the passing game here. See, that is not an easy pass to complete when you're falling back on your Sims.
Yeah. So on back-to-back plays, 20 yards to Galloway, 22 to Smith. And here's Cadillac inside the 30, down to the 27.
This has been Cadillac time of the game throughout the season. Is 4th quarter, you're trying to win a game, trying to preserve a lead. He seems to have an awful lot of juice. In fact, John Gruden said he has as much stamina in the 4th quarter as any player that he's ever coached.
55 yards on the ground today for Cadillac. 9.5 remaining. Buccaneers leading by 4. 2nd and 4. It's Williams again. And Cadillac Williams has the 1st down. Tackled by Fakir Brown at the 13 after picking up 14 yards.
It's almost like you expect Cadillac to get warmed up here, get the carburetor kicked into gear, and this is when the Bucks start to believe in pounding the rock. Pounding the rock, keep chipping away at a team, wearing them down, keep running it. All those plays, again, continue to run to the left. Behind Anthony Davis, behind Dan Benning over there. Kick out blocks by Allstott.
From the 13, it's Cadillac. Brought down at the 7 as we check in with Chris Myers.
Kenny Bryan, the 18th carry for Cadillac Williams, 21, the magic number. Running back coach Art Valero said in pregame warmups that, like Tiki Barber, forget the smaller size, Cadillac Williams sees what the defense is doing better in the 4th quarter than he does earlier, and he can make the adjustments. And much like a basketball player creating a shot, when there isn't something there, he has a better chance to create something late in the game.
Thanks, Chris. 25 yards on this drive for Cadillac. On 2nd and 4. Fights to get back to the line of scrimmage.
On the run.
Key down here, because if New Orleans can hold them to a field goal, it's a 1-score game. If they can get into the end zone here, then it's a 2-score game with 7.5 minutes and so and counting. So awfully big play right here on 3rd down.
Line of scrimmage, the 8. Bucks have to get to the 3 for a first.
Galloway with 2 touchdown catches in the first half.
Timeout called by the Bucks.
Timeout, Tampa Bay.
When we come back, 3rd and 5 from the 8. Carolina leading Atlanta 37-3. Now, if the Bucks and the Panthers both win their games, Tampa would be locked in as the 3rd seed. Giants number 4, Carolina number 5.
And the Bucks would win the NFC South.
Yes. And it would be Washington or Dallas as the 6th seed facing the Bucks next weekend. Sims on 3rd and 5, incomplete, intended for Allstott.
Well, that was just a bad throw by Chris. He has to put that ball out front of Allstott there, have him a chance to turn around and either score the touchdown or get the first down. He threw that ball behind Allstott. Look, you see there's nobody in the picture there. Chris just makes a nice, easy, accurate throw there. They may score a touchdown. They'll at least get the first down.
So Matt Bryant out to attempt a 26-yard field goal, hit from 46 earlier. Josh Bidwell, the holder. Bryant from 26 extends the Bucks lead to 7. So the Bucks lead is now 20-13. Tampa Bay looking to clinch the division, and some of their youngsters and offense have helped lead the way this season.
Both those players, and all 3 of those players, instrumental on this last drive, being able to get a field goal right here, put the Bucks up 20-13. Alex Smith with a big catch on the drive. Sims 2 big completions early in that drive to move him down the field. 1 on 3rd down to Galloway. Cadillac heating up here in the 4th quarter. The last time he played the Saints a little over a month ago, he had 22 carries for 96 yards. He had to earn every single one of them.
And Brian, think back to that reversal of the McKinnon interception.
Good challenge.
Buccaneers, after winning that challenge, wound up driving 66 yards, kicking a field goal. So with 7:16 remaining in the 4th, Carolina Panthers have a close eye on this one as they are routing the Falcons in Atlanta. Buccaneers win the division with a victory. If not, Carolina would win the South.
Kickoff returner here, Aaron Stecker. Former Buck, would love nothing better to put one up against the Bucks here.
Brought one back in this stadium last year for a touchdown. Stecker across the 30, a 23-yard return. Now, something else to keep in mind from a Saints perspective, and you know their fans are thinking about this as we look at Bauman's terrific second half numbers. If the Saints lose this game and the Houston Texans beat the 49ers later, the Saints would have a great shot at the first overall draft.
Projected first pick in the draft. He's saying he's received the highest grade he ever remembered from a college prospective player.
Saints have had the first pick only once. Back in 1981, they chose a running back, George Rogers. Saints start from the 32. Bauman in trouble. Able to scoop it over to Anthony Thomas, so avoids the sack, and then Thomas gains a couple.
Remember Todd Bauman last night talking to us, saying that he always idolized Brett Favre, that he's a gunslinger. He plays the game, you know, with just a wide open mentality, and that's sort of a Brett Favre play right here. He's going down, he's trying to rescue it. Said he played the game fearless, and that's what he just did. Saved a sack there, got the ball to the A train, and rescued a bad play.
Second down and 8. Bauman complete to Hakeem, a first down, and Bauman sets a career best with his 22nd completion Gain of 16 yards.
Wide open, too. I mean, Buck's just playing his zone right here. Gets in between the corner and the safety. Look at that. Everybody's playing deep. See that 26 Will Allen is a backup safety playing for Jermaine Phillips today. They just don't want to give up the big play. So they're staying back, protecting against the big play, and giving up the easy completion underneath.
1st and 10 from midfield. The pitch to Thomas. And Thomas tackled from behind by Rondé Barber after gaining 4. So if Houston loses, they have the #1 pick. No questions asked. But if Houston wins, then many teams would be tied at 3 and 13. Green Bay winning today. Jets are winning by 4 over Buffalo. And then it would come down to lowest opponent winning percentage through last week. The Saints have that.
That's the tiebreaker, is the opponent's winning percentage. Saints playing the weakest schedule of the teams.
2nd and 7, Anthony Thomas up the middle. With 5 minutes remaining in this 4th quarter.
Well, projected to be such a great player. Even with the Deuce McAllister coming back, it might be hard to turn down Reggie Bush.
3rd down and 3. And Bauman's pass incomplete. Intended for Stallworth.
I think the Saints might go for it on this 4th down here, but I don't think they have to. I think there's plenty of time to punt this ball away and get the ball back. 1-on-1 right here with Jerron Bolden. Good coverage. Not much space there to throw the ball, and the fans can feel what this 4th down is all about right here.
Saints have to get to the 40. 4th down and 3. Bauman under pressure. Down he goes. Taken down by Simeon Rice at the 44-yard line. Rice's 2nd sack today. His 14th of the season.
One thing about this 2nd-ranked Buck defense, when the game is on the line and you need a play, their big-time players step up. They show blitz, they don't come. Now, Todd Bauman's got to know that Simeon's coming from his backside when he takes off. Or Simeon, about 5 weeks ago, told us that he is their fastest player on the team. Nobody can outrun him. Now it's what you call the 4-minute offense, where you just want to run this clock out. Run Cadillac Williams here, get off the field, win the title, and get ready for next week's home playoff game.
Here's Cadillac. As we approach 4 minutes remaining, we check in with Chris Myers.
Kenny Bryant, Simeon Rice told me that a friend of his called from Chicago during Christmas and sent him the Michael Jordan videos. It seems like we have a basketball theme going with this team, but he said he looked at it because he showed him that if you play at a high energy level, regardless of how much time remains in the game like Michael did, you will excel. Simeon also told me before the game he thinks this Buccaneers team is better than the one that won the Super Bowl because they have big playmakers on offense like Cadillac Williams and Joey Galloway.
Thanks, Chris. 3.5 remaining. 2nd down and 9.
He doesn't just play at a high level. He vibrates at a high level.
Cadillac down to the 43. Ronald McKinnon made the tackle. Saints have 1 timeout remaining.
I was watching Simeon warm up today. He was down on the field throwing passes, running sprints 2 hours before kickoff. He had that kind of a lather going at 11 o'clock this morning.
He has almost as much energy as you have.
I tell you, in his off season, whenever the season ends, his off season begins the following week. The conditioning, the strength training, all those kind of things kick in.
Buccaneers use some clock and they call timeout.
Tampa Bay, their 2nd.
2:48 on the clock tonight. Then the Cowboys would be the 6th seed in the NFC. This is the final week of the regular season, and a great job as always by our entire crew. Our producer Pete Macheska, director Michael Frank, associate director Judy Wong. Broadcast associate Chirag Devascar, technical producer Dan Rotante. Studio produced by Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy. The associate director Stephanie Medina. Senior vice president of production is Jack Simmons. The senior producer of Fox Sports is Bill Brown. And the executive producers Ed Gorin and David Hill.
Good team you just read right there, Kenny. Good team all the way around.
Third down and 8. Sims going deep. There is a flag. Galloway makes the catch for the touchdown, but there is a flag back around the line of scrimmage.
Holding. Number 79 in the offense. That's a 10-yard penalty. It's still third down.
That's Sean Mahan again.
Well, the offensive line has let this offense down today, but that play, we talked about it earlier, was available. That's just a green light there for Galloway to run the go. And tackling his man right here. Tackling Brian Young right there. And that was the time needed for Sims to get that ball down the field. Almost the third touchdown catch for Galloway today. You see the speed. I mean, just running away from a younger Joey Thomas. Not even close in that foot race.
So instead of a touchdown, it's third down and 18. And Cadillac will take it to the Saints 48. And now the Bucs will punt.
I think it's a disappointing performance by this offensive line today. Just way too many penalties. And that's what they really wanted to kind of build on today as they go into the playoffs.
Cadillac with 81 yards. Saints stop the clock, call timeout with 2:34 remaining. And Saints without any remaining timeouts. Brian, we can't forget about the guys who travel with us all year long. 17 weeks. We started in Detroit back in September. Ipan Vidge, Tim Dunn, John Warner, and Win Bernfeld here in the booth. Mike Ratus, Joe Flynn, Mark Loffer, Lou Leota, Brian Unverzat, and our stat crew, Eric Merlis, Ben Bulmer, Rick Camps, and Matt Banovic. We've been with them for 17 weeks. Best crew you can ask for in sports television.
I tell you, Winnie and the guys, they have as much fun. They have as much fun as we do, Kenny. I mean, they look forward to our schedule and where we're going.
They usually know where we're going before we do.
They find that out. Travel isn't easy. Getting in and out of airports, in and out of small planes.
Going to Baton Rouge twice.
Yeah. Not easy getting to Baton Rouge. Looks like somebody flinched for the Bucs before the snap.
False start. Number 90 of the offense. The 5-yard penalty. It's still fourth down.
So I remember talking to Chris Sims. He said he would love to just come out here and win a game 28-0, you know, and just have something less than a nail biter. But it seems like every one of these games that the Bucs plays, that's what it's like. And it's going to be no different here today. Saints are going to get a chance here with 2.5 minutes to go.
Chris also told us that he had never led a last-minute game-winning comeback in his life until these last 2 months. Never in high school because his team was usually winning by about 3 touchdowns. Never in college. Good kick by Bidwell. Hakeem backpedals all the way to the 15. And is tackled at the 25-yard line. 51-yard punt. 10 on the return.
Well, they got a Pro Bowl punt out of Josh Bidwell going to Hawaii this year. And then a great coverage by Calvin Pearson. That looked like a fun tackle. Just lay out, grab Hakeem, and throw him to the ground.
Saints with no timeouts remaining. 2 minutes, 11 seconds. They will get the 2-minute warning. The Steelers have won, so they clinch the number 6 seed. The Chiefs eliminated despite their big win today in Dick Vermeil's final game. Bauman out of the shotgun from the 25. And that pass is caught by the tight end, Zach Hilton, for a first down, a 21-yard reception as we hit the 2-minute warning. So Bauman finding Hilton for the 4th time today. 4 catches, 66 yards. And when we return, it will be a 1st and 10 for the Saints from their own 46. They need a touchdown to tie. Two sacks today for Simeon Rice. Saints with no timeouts remaining, trailing by 7. A 1st and 10 from their own 46. Bauman's pass into Bucs territory is caught by Hakeem. No, they say he was unable to hold on. Initially looked like he made the catch, so a 2nd and 10 coming up.
We'll see if this is a catch because it would be reviewed upstairs here.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Up it bounced.
Yeah, that's a one-hopper there. Yeah.
Bounced in front of Hakeem. Now 2nd and 10 from the 46. 3 receivers set. And Dwayne White knocks the ball away from Bauman. White heading towards the end zone. Touchdown. He was one of the heroes for the Buccaneers last week when he blocked a kick in overtime. White with a sack, a forced fumble, and a 34-yard return for a touchdown.
He is the hero because everybody was concentrating on Simeon Rice and Dwayne White came from the other side. And, of course, the bow. The New Year's Day bow right there. Special teams player of the week after blocking a field goal in overtime last week against the Falcons, giving them life support, and then closing this win out here today. And I think it's safe to say that the Bucs will be crowned the NFC South champions after that play.
Dwayne White in his 3rd season out of Louisville, a 2nd-round draft pick in 2003, with a huge play late in the game for the 2nd straight week. His 3rd sack of the season. And he returned it 34 yards for a Buccaneers touchdown.
He got the triple crown, Kenny. He got the forced fumble, the fumble recovery, and the touchdown. Here he is right here on the outside coming. Bauman never sees him, doesn't feel him, gets the ball out of his hands, picks up. Now watch Simeon. Simeon comes and gets the block on Bauman. And a little bit of high step. A little bit of marching band right there. And you become the 2nd-ranked defense in football, and you're a top 10 ranked defense in football in Monty Kiffin for 10 straight years in a row because they continue to make plays like this. And what a feeling when the team needs it most to deliver the knockout punch.
1st career touchdown for Dwayne White. The 3rd touchdown scored by the Bucs defense this season. And they have scored 17 of their 27 points today off turnovers. So the Bucs now a minute 43 away from clinching the NFC South. They would host Washington or Dallas in the playoffs next weekend.
Of course, they played Washington here this year, a thrilling victory when John Gruden went for 2 instead of the tie to win 36-35.
A Bucs win would also guarantee that the Giants would host Carolina in the other NFC playoff game next weekend.
You know, are you telling me that we're starting to get the playoff picture cleared up here, Kenny? With a minute 37 to go?
It's about time.
Yeah. Well, this is why the Bucs are in a position to host a playoff game next week. Last week, in overtime, Dwayne White blocked this chip shot field goal. And then here. And then this week, less than 2 minutes to go in the game, gets the ball out of Bauman's hands. Gets a little help from Simeon Rice there, throwing a block. His counterpart scores another defensive touchdown for the Bucs this season. 3rd time this season a Buc defensive player has scored a touchdown.
Bauman to Hilton. Saints do not have any timeouts remaining.
Give me the playoff picture here, Kenny. Bucs right here next week.
Well, assuming the Bucs hang on, they're leading by 2 touchdowns. They will host either Washington or Dallas. Washington if the Redskins win.
Of course, the Redskins play later.
Yep, Dallas if the Cowboys win and the Redskins lose, then Dallas would visit Tampa. And if the Bucs win, it will be the Giants hosting their former defensive coordinator, John Fox, and the Carolina Panthers.
Chris Sims was saying that he's never played in Giant Stadium. You know, he had a high school playoff game. He was supposed to play there. Game got moved to Hoboken because of a Bon Jovi concert. I think John Gruden will take it. Most coaches, you know, like they back off after being doused. He goes and gives everybody a hug. And what a turnaround. From 5-11, and John Gruden said we're not a 5-11 team last year, and everybody scoffed at him to 11-5. A 6-game turnaround in one season.
So the Saints will finish 3-13. If the Texans beat the 49ers today, Saints will have a chance for the first overall pick. Where will Jim Haslett be next season? The Buccaneers move on. They win their 5th division title and will host either the Washington Redskins or the Dallas Cowboys here at Raymond James Stadium next weekend. So congratulations to the NFC South champs, the Tampa Bay Bucs. For Brian Baldinger and Chris Myers, this is Kenny Albert. Now to James Brown in